Okay, well, I've done a little boo-boo already, but that's all right. 1 second. All right. Good to have you here. 今日の般若心経ありますね。あ、ちょっとね。Well, hello everybody. Hi. Everybody can hear okay? Everybody there? Today we mark the beginning of our Ango, our 3-month tranquil residence or peaceful abiding, as I'll be speaking about later. This is something we do right where we are. It's more a matter of what we bring to this moment and the way we look at this moment, which is dropping our usual barriers to this moment, bringing sincerity and diligence to our practice right here where we live. So I'm so glad to have all our Sangha friends here today. And we have a gentleman, Japanese gentleman, Mr. K, who's here for the first time. Welcome. Hi, hi. Say hello. So, but otherwise our proceedings are as before. Kyonin, are you the Ino today? Okay, then if you've been here before, you know what to do, and if it's your first time, just follow along. じゃあ、合唱で私、今日、般若心経とか、三度会、歌います。はい。
The heart of the perfection of great wisdom, Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. passion, imprashna paramita, the deep practice of perfect wisdom, perceive the emptiness of all five conditions, and glass free of suffering, O Shariputra. Form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is precisely emptiness, emptiness precisely form. Sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this, O Shariputra. All things are expressions of emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, neither waxing nor waning. Thus emptiness is not form, not sensation nor perception, not formation nor consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, nor object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, no end to ignorance, no old age and death, no cessation of old age and death, no suffering nor cause or end to suffering, no path, no wisdom, and no gain, no gain. Thus bodhisattvas leave this prajna paramita with no hindrance of mind, no hindrance, therefore no fear, far beyond all delusion. Nirvana is already here. All past, present, and future Buddhas leave this prajna paramita and realize supreme and complete enlightenment. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the sacred mantra, the luminous mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra by which all suffering is clear. This is no other than truth. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhiswaka Hanya Shingyo. The identity of relative and absolute. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately conveyed west and east, while human faculties are both wise and dull. In the way there are no northern and southern ancestors. The subtle source shines clear in the light, the branching streams flow in the dark. To be attached to things is primordial illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightenment. All spheres, every sense and field, intermingle even as they shine alone, interacting even as they merge, yet keeping their places in expressions of their own. Sight differs primarily in shape and character, and sounds in harsh or soothing tones. The dark makes all worlds one, the brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their true nature, as a child turned to its mother. Fire is hot, water is wet, wind moves and the earth is dense. I am form, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste, the sweet and sour, each independent of other, like leaves that come from the same root. And though leaves and root must go back to the source, both root and leaves have their own uses. Light is also darkness, but do not think of it as darkness. Darkness is light, do not see it as light. Light and darkness are not one, not two, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own being, which is not different from its place and function. The relative fits the absolute as a box and its lid. The absolute meets the relative, like two arrow points that touch in midair. Hearing this, simply perceive what is, make no criterion. If you do not see the way, you do not see it even as you walk upon it. Walking forward in the way, you draw no nearer, progress no farther. One who fails to see this truth is mountains and rivers away. Listen, those who would perceive this subtle matter. Live well your time by night and day. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the heart of the perfection of great wisdom sutra and the identity of relative and absolute, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honor One, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Eihei Dogen Honor One, Soji Keizen Honor One, all successive Honor Ones up until Rempo Niwa Honor One, and Gudo Wafu Honor One, and to all other Honor Ones throughout history, male and female Honor Ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures, now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all families touched with these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May all we realize and live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prashna Paramita.
Zazen? 1 second.明日のことも知りてえ。昨日のことも知りてえ。今日は暑い。今日は暑い。今日はちょうどいい。その全部の考えの判断で一緒ないです。ここは完璧です。これは全部です。ここにいるとき、この3分、ここに帰っていかなければならないところない。ここに座っている間、人生を変更する価値はない。 ¿Quién? Ima, Zazen, Gashi. ねZazen? また、座ります。一回も終わって、はい。一回も終わって、前のとこに、構いません。座ってください。もし、反対方向でもできますか？もし無理なら、前の、もうちょっと後ろしてください。そうそうそうそう。そうそうそう。ちょっと、人生いろいろ、時々、人が私に聞いて、選択、この人と離婚するか、離婚しこの人と続きましょうか、やりましょうか、この道越しましょうか。 will now have a long inhale.この前に緩くないでください。後ろからここに。今大丈夫ですけど、はい。この前に渡らないでください。仏さんに主催ですね。けど本当に仏さん気にしない。 じゃあ、そろそろまた始まりますけど、今度はですね、座禅じゃないんですけど、私の話します。 話はね、ほとんど英語ですけど、時々私言ってることを日本語で同時通訳します。変な日本語でごめんなさいね。けど、このままね、あっちに座ってリラックスしてください。お茶飲んだり、もしそういう気分になったら、あっちに座禅座ってもいいです。聞くだけで、見ても、見るの。あ、これこれはね、道元禅師ご存知ですか？道元禅師、聖護禅師です。これが聖護禅師の一文です。英語でも日本語でも日本人でも読みにくい。読み方説明します。ピカソご存知ですか？ジャズ好きですか？ジャズ音楽のやり方大体わかりますか？普通の音楽して、ちょっとクリエイティブにピカソはね、普通の人の顔して、道元禅師の書き方、そういう書き方、あれはね、普通の仏教の土台して、ピカソしました。だから読みにくいだけど、クリエイティブにピカソのように、エクスプレスします。すごく読みにくいんですけど、で、言いたいことを心の中に感じたら、大体わかると思います。ということです。We will now have a little talk, followed by Zazen. Kyonin, can you do the verse to open the sutra? If not, I can do it. Kyonin still there? Okay. All right, I'll do the verse to open the sutra then. Everybody can hear okay? Let me move the microphone even a little closer. Is that even better? Is that good? Okay. Let me see. So I'm going to speak for a while, and then I'd like to have maybe a little question and answer at the end if I don't do what I sometimes do, which is to keep talking. Okay, good. Gasho. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound but infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize the Tathagata's true meaning. Okay, everybody. Everybody here okay? Well, it's Ango time again. We should have an Ango time song. For next year, I'm going to commission an Ango song, and we can all sing it. But this is the way we celebrate the beginning of Ango. We have Mr. K here, who's a Japanese guest, and he would like a little translation. So every once in a while, I'm going to break into my funny Japanese and try to convey what I say. 今日は暗号の始まりです。これからの90分の座禅もちょっと集中するときです。Okay, so I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? And I looked at what I talked about last year, and I said, that's what I want to talk about again. So I thought, well, but am I going to subject people to every year listening to me say the same thing? And I said, well, you know, it's never quite the same, is it? It's always changing. Maybe even when I speak at this time, I will realize something or hear something that I hadn't heard before. Or maybe, well, things are the same, but they're always changing too. So maybe for the next how many years, I guess I'll give the same talk every time we have an Ango, because it's just the Ango talk. And it's about Dogen Zenji's perspective on Ango. Dogen Zenji no Ango ni tsuite no iken desu. Originally, Dogen Zenji, you know, came from China, and he was very, very open, it seemed, to lay practice. He wrote letters. Even Genjo Koan was a letter to a lay practitioner. And he was kind of, oh, anyone can do Zazen. It's for anyone. You don't even, some of his early writings, you can do it anywhere. You can be anyone. And then, I think Dogen Zenji had kind of a hard few years. And he was not really welcomed by the community of traditional Buddhist establishment in Kyoto when he came. And gradually he got kind of pushed out. Kyoto was the capital of Japan. And gradually he got pushed out into the countryside, where he ended up in the snowy, isolated mountains of Echizen Prefecture with his monks. Dogen Zenji 最初はね、誰でも座禅できる意見でしたね、京都の時。けど、だんだんはね、彼はね、京都から追い出されて、越前まで行っちゃって、永平寺、ね、お坊さんと一緒にだけ、ね、住んでいました。So sometimes he was writing Shobo Genzo for his monks. You who know the history, you've heard this story before. So when you read, Shobo Genzo, he's kind of like the coach talking to his monks. And, you're talking to monks, you say, being a monk, that's the way to go. This practice is really only for monks. And if you're not a monk, you can't do this. But then every once in a while in Shobo Genzo, you can almost get the feeling that some lay people were showing up. Maybe his sponsor, for example, was a lay person, a samurai who lived close by. And suddenly the old Dogen Zenji would reappear. And he would say, no, but it's really for everybody again. So let's just say Dogen Zenji was a good speaker for whoever he was talking to. And this Ango section of Shobo Genzo is an example. And it has something very, very, very interesting. Dogen Zenji spends the whole Ango chapter laying out in excruciating detail the procedures for Ango. Dogen Zenji Ango no toki, すごい厳しい基準。ね、ほとんど全部ね、こういう儀式のやり方、こういうお経の歌い方、すごい厳しい基準、お坊さんに教えました。この聖母元素暗号の中ね。けど、then suddenly, at the end, he says, oh, by the way, it's not about the rules. And if you break the rules, that's not what matters. if your heart is in the right place. That's the very last section of Ango that we're going to look at. And isn't that us? He also, laying out all these excruciating rules for Ango, suddenly says, at a couple of places, oh, by the way, priest, layperson, no problem. And then at the end he says, wherever you do Ango, however you do Ango, if your heart is in the right place, no problem. After this whole long talk setting out in excruciating standards the procedures for monks to do this. Isn't this our situation here at Tree Leaf with you folks? Because you're doing Ango in this way. 最初の部分はね、道元禅師、その基準、捨てました。心が純粋なら、どこでも、どの方法でも暗号です。と書きました。ね。在家の人、坊さんでも構わない。書いてありますね。So, that's what we're going to look at here, because we're doing Ango at home. Our monastery is being with our children when they need us, being in our job, being in our workplace. Someone wrote me yesterday and said, I don't feel my Zazen or Ango will be right because I have to do it in this little apartment. And I said, who decides your apartment is little? The whole place here in Shobogenzo, he's saying in Ango, he says that where you sit is as wide and boundless as the whole universe. And another person wrote and said, I don't have a lot of time for Ango. And I said, read what he says here. One moment of Ango is endless ages, and they use the word kalpa, that's an endless age of Buddhism. One moment of sincere Ango is endless ages of Ango. He says it. So what do you mean you don't have time? If you find a moment here, a moment there, or throughout your whole day, even when you think, I'm not doing Ango, I'm working, I'm not doing Ango, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm not doing Ango, I'm getting the car fixed. If you have the right attitude, it is Ango, it is all time and space. 時々人は書いてはね、私、暗号する場所はない。小さいアパートに住んでるから。けど、道元禅師の意見はね、暗号はね、場所と関係ない。座禅するときはね、この世界の全部です。私時間がない。いやいや、座禅絡んでいるときはね、永遠までです。通じました？大体。時間と関係ない。場所と関係ない。Okay? All right. So let's look at a couple of sections in which Dogen Zenji is talking here. This is from Shobogen Zoango. Again, he's in his wild Dogen way. If anyone has not read Dogen before, I describe him usually as, think of Picasso, someone who takes the human face or a guitar and twists it, puts everything in seemingly the wrong place, and it's right, because he makes a new expression. This is what Dogen Zenji tends to do with his words. He takes traditional Buddhist teachings, perspectives, and stories, and like Picasso, takes them all apart, bends them all, puts them back together again in something incredibly creative. A new expression emerges. If you don't know what he's saying because you're new to Dogen, just think of it like that and feel basically the point he's making more than what do the words, the sense of the words, do they make sense? Okay? To meet a summer retreat is to meet the Buddhas and patriarchs. Ango suru toki, zazen suru toki, hotoke to senzo-san, Bukkyo no senzo-san, ao koto desu. Hotoke to ichi suru koto desu. Toitsu suru koto desu. そういう意味です。Okay? To meet a summer retreat is to realize Buddha and to realize the state of patriarch. We have a helicopter passing, but remember in Zen, as I always say, the helicopters are just what they are, just as beautiful as the bird song outside. So I'll talk a little louder as the helicopter is passing. Helicopter no nakegoi desu. In this 90 days make a summer, though the measurement of time is a cerebral measurement, it is beyond 1 kalpa or 10 kalpas. A moment of ango, or the 90 days of ango, is not a matter of 90 days. Every instant of ango is the whole 90 days, and every instant of ango is all time since the beginning of time and then some. How's that? And it's beyond only 100,000 countless kalpas. That's a lot of kalpas. The summer retreat has not come here from another place in another time, and it does not originate from just this place and just this time. What I think he's saying is the Ango is not something we go to, nor did the Ango come to us. You know, the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, did this back in India, and we think it's a tradition that was passed down to us. It doesn't come. It's right here. And so is the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and all the ancestors, Dogen too. When we sit a moment of Ango, they're sitting. You got to get used to this way of thinking in Buddhism, that one moment contains all moments, that one grain of sand contains the whole universe, and our moment of Zazen is all the Buddhas and ancestors sitting Zazen. Once you understand that, you understand a lot. When we grasp their origins, the 90 days come at once. When we grope for their basis, the 90 days come. Sorry, is everybody okay out there? Come at once. Ango suru toki, zazen suru toki, ein made ima desu. Toi kako no koto, Shakyamuni no jidai, ima desu. Shorai no koto, ima desu. Sujimashita. Bukkyo no tachiba ne. The common and the sacred have seen these 90 days as their caves and their very lives. I think that means something like ordinary people, common people, people who did Zazen in caves like Bodhidharma. This is their Ango. But the 90 days have far transcended the states of the common and the sacred. That's also something to do with us. You know, you think the sacred is what goes on in the church or the big temple, and the common is, you know, taking care of the baby diapers or cooking lunch. The common sacred is what we're about. It transcends the states of the common and the sacred. When you can see your baby diaper changing as the greatest religious ritual that has ever performed, then you're onto something. Futsu ni gishiki o eiheiji no toki yarimasu ne. Nichijou no koto, tateiba akachan no omutsu henko suru. Watashi tachi no tachiba kara, sore mo gishiki desu. Ne? Kore wa rifa na Hotoke-san. Kore wa futsu no jinsei. Chigau. Kore wa Hotoke-san. Are wa Hotoke-san. Tsujimashita. Right. Okay. All right. Now, the next section I'm not going to go into in too much detail. I just want to point you to these words, upasaka and upasika. I never can pronounce that right. I always think of that song, upachaka, ukachaka, uka. You remember that song? Ukachaka, ukachaka. I just got this feeling. Remember that? So, if anyone out there is better with their pronunciation, I believe it's upasaka and upasika, which means basically lay man and lay woman. The division of the Sangha in the past was in bhiksu and bhikshuni. That's basically a monk or a nun, and a layman, laywoman. And what he's basically saying here is, because he mentions it, it's for anybody. Anybody. You don't have to be just, you can be a lay person. But in our Sangha too, by the way, we're starting to say that bhiksu, bhikkhuni, upasaka, and upasika are not divided. Sometimes when I'm with my kids, I'm a upasaka, and sometimes when I'm doing this, maybe I'm more bhiksu, but we in our Sangha are 100% bhiksu, 100% bhikshuni, 100% upasaka, and 100% upasika. And you say, how can you be both a upasaka and a bhiksu? How can you be both a priest and a layperson? And I say, well, look at what Dogen's saying here. When we sit a moment of ango, it's all space and time. It's every moment. When we sit a moment of zazen, it's every Buddha ancestor. If he can think that way, if he can feel that way, then it's a piece of cake to be 100% priest, 100% layperson. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic there. It says in the first, okay, well, let's go to the next section then. Once, 彼書いてあるよね。在家の人、坊さん構わない。ね、so okay. Once when the world-honored one was doing this is the story where he throws out all the rules. So if you read this Ango, it is excruciating. Dogen Zenji, it's basically like reading a manual for programming your video machine. I mean, it is so wonderfully detailed. Dogen Zenji, he said you pick up the incense with this hand, you bow with that, and you do this, and you bow. And he seems to be saying it's for monks, you have to be living the monk's life. And then suddenly he closes with this story that throws everything out the window. I think it speaks for itself. これは基準を捨てる話です。厳しいやり方、道元先生、厳しいやり方説明しました。急にその規則、基準、やり方捨てる。Once when the world-honored one, that's the Buddha, was doing the 90-day summer retreat somewhere, on the final day, when the ceremony of public repentance was held, Manjusri suddenly appeared in the assembly, whereupon Makakasho asked him, Hey, you! Where did you do your retreat this summer? Well, this needs a little background. You're supposed to do it in one place. Everybody's supposed to get together. You're not supposed to leave unless, even there are stories in Korea, if your father has died, they don't tell you during the Ango. They wait to the end of the Ango even to tell you your parent has died. And even if you find out, you are not to leave to go home. It's almost, sometimes there are stories of guys jumping over the wall to go home, and they actually chase after him and drag him back in Korea. They follow him. The monks follow him, find the guy, drag him back to the monastery. You are not to leave. But hey, you, Manjusri, where were you? And Manjusri replied, This summer, I did the retreat in 3 other places. Now, what's interesting here, it's not written here, but there's a traditional story about what these 3 places were, and I don't know, how to take this, but one says in one he was doing the Ango in a rich man's house, 2 was a demon's cave, and 3 was either a bar or a bordello. Now, this is a traditional story that's told, and I think it's one of these Zen things, transcending, again, the sacred and the mundane. But according to one interpretation, he did his Ango in a rich man's house, the demon's cave, and the corner bar. So I don't know. But at this, Maka Shapos assembled the community. This is a rule violation, intending to have Manjusri expelled by striking the wooden fish. I guess that's what they do. They strike the mokigyo drum and said, You broke the rules, banished. But just as he had raised the hammer to strike the wooden fish, he suddenly saw innumerable Buddhist temples appearing. He could see that there was a Buddha with a Manjusri at each place and a Makakasho, I should say, at each place, his hand raising a hammer to expel Manjusri. Whereupon the world-honored one spoke to Makakasho, saying, which Manjusri exactly do you wish to expel now? Makakasho was immediately dumbfounded. Ango no toki, otera kara derarenai. Kore wa horitsu desu. Kono kata wa ne, saigo no hi kimashita. Oh, he also showed up on the last day. Like he wasn't there the whole time. He shows up on the last day. That's another thing. Saigo no hi mii ni natte, doko ito? Kikimashita. Watakushi 3 kasho ni ango shite, mukashi no hanashi da kedo, kanimochi no ie, oni no ところと、居酒屋行ったね。暗号しました。それこの厳しい人、そう、違反、法律違反、捨てちゃう。出ていけ。さっき無理、急に見えになって、どこでも暗号というイメージしたいて、ね、どこでも暗号できる世界見せて、それで厳しい人聞いて、どちらの方捨てたいんですか？どこまで捨てたいんですか？無理です。どこでも暗号という。通じました大体？はい、OK. So, then Dogen reads this poem and said, if a bell is not struck, it does not ring. If a drum is not struck, it does not resound. Which I think means that a bell has a bell sound when it's rung like a bell, and a drum has a drum sound when it's struck like a drum. Because Makakasho has already grasped the essential function of a summer retreat, and Manjusri had rid himself of all duality by means of his doing meditation throughout the 10 quarters. In other words, Makakasho's way was right. He grasped the essential summer, and Manjusri did his ango everywhere in the 10 directions. That means everywhere in the universe. In every direction. And he was rid of duality. He was rid of thinking, I'm here, I'm not here, I'm doing it the right way, I'm doing it the wrong way. And Buddha says here, well, basically they're both right. This very moment in the story is an excellent one, for it expounds the functioning of the Buddha's teaching. How regrettable to have missed such a move. As our dear Master Shakyamuni was about to say, which of the Manjusris do you wish to expel now? Just imagine, what if Makakasho right off had given the fish a good whack? What mass annihilation would he have created? In other words, if he had kicked the guy out, he would have really lost something. We would have really lost something. I have to say, this is where I say every year, there are still some people who are doubtful that we can do ango like this. First off, we're online, we're in different countries, you're at home, and some people will say, this is not a real ango. And I always point them to this story. I think it gets the point across. Which ango is not a real ango? Where are you doing ango according to the Buddha? I mean, this is from the Dogen and the Buddha man themselves. You want a higher authority? Where is the wrong place to do ango? Where are you now that Manjusri and Makakasho are not? Rhetorical question. Ango doku demo dekiru to you. Meditation Master Engo added a verse to this commentary of his, said Dogen. A great elephant does not play about in the narrow path that a rabbit makes. And what could a little bird know of a great wild swan? Which I tend to say means that the elephant has the elephant way and the rabbit has the rabbit way. And an elephant should not pretend it's a rabbit. And the same with the bird and the swan. In other words, people say, what's the right way to do ango? And I say, your way is right. And I think our way is good too. Right now, you know, with Taigu and the blue mountain white clouds, people say, oh, you're going to have these two Sangha groups because you guys can't decide which is the right way to practice Zen. And I say, you don't understand. It's both the right way and they're all completely the universe. The elephant way is the elephant way. The rabbit way is the rabbit way. They're both good ways. Sometimes the elephant should not try to be the rabbit. Sometimes the rabbit doesn't want to be the elephant. Sometimes, this is the interesting thing, sometimes we want to spend a little time being an elephant and then try being a rabbit for a while. That's good too. The point is, when people say this is the right way or the wrong way to practice, I often say, no, as long as it's a good way, there are endless good ways. 仏教の正しいやり方、いろいろ意見ありますね。私の方法が正しい。君の方法悪い。or 宗教。キリスト教が正しい。仏教はダメ。その逆もある。いやいやいや、人によって全部いい人。キリスト教の人、キリスト教。仏教の人、仏教。臨済宗の人、臨済宗。外宗の人、外宗。この書いてあるね。象は象のやり方ある。うさぎの道ある。時々象はうさぎになりたくないんだけど、象は象、うさぎはうさぎ、両方がいい。 という意味です。大体わかるね。Okay. So, it was just as if Makakasho had created a new way of putting the matter while staying within the rules and regulations. So Makakasho is right because he's staying within the rules and regulations. It was just as if Manjusri had grabbed a flying arrow with his teeth, having already broken the target, which means something like he did it in the wrong way, breaking all the rules, but because he was sincere, he grabbed a flying arrow out of the sky with his teeth. Worked a magic trick. The whole universe is one with Manjusri. The whole universe is one with Makakasho. Face to face, each is solemn in his authority. Makakasho raised his hammer, but in which place will he punish Manjusri? Manjusri did it with one fine prick of his needle. Makakasho's ascetic practices rid him of all hindrances. You get the point. Ryoho ga kokoro ga kirei dakara, ryoho ga tadashi. Both guys did ango with their heart in the right place. That doesn't mean you can just go off and hang around bars and rich guys' houses and watch TV, and that's ango. Don't get me wrong. Listen closely to what Dogen is saying here. If you're going to do ango at home, if you're going to do ango with your family, if you're going to do ango in your office, or your heart has to be in the right place. At the same time, you could be in a monastery and just killing time too. You could even be in a monastery, and if your heart's not in the right place, you're just wasting time. But here the point is, not just anything you do is ango. Do not misunderstand me. He's not saying anything you do is ango. He's saying that if you do it with the attitude of sacredness, and this is ango, then anything is ango. Then you can do it like Manjusri. 彼言っていること、何でも暗号ですという意味じゃなくて、もし心が正しいなら何でも暗号です。それで酒を飲んだり遊んだりこと暗号意味じゃなくて、もし心がきれいなら何でも暗号です。人生の何でも暗号です。もし心が変なら人生は暗号じゃない。Okay. So, let's finish up here. So, the world-honored ones doing the summer retreat in one place is equivalent to Manjusri's doing it in 3 places. And neither is not doing the summer retreat. Dogen could not be any clearer. If someone is not doing the retreat, then such a one is not a Buddha or Bodhisattva. So, Dogen's pretty insistent that you have to do Ango if you're a real Buddhist, according to him, but he also seems to be very flexible on what Ango is. There is no account of any offspring of the Buddhas and ancestors not doing a summer retreat. You should realize that those who do a summer retreat are offspring of the Buddhas and ancestors. Dogen was never one for understatement. Doing a summer retreat is the body and mind of the Buddhas and ancestors. It is the eye of the Buddhas and ancestors, the very life of the Buddhas and ancestors. Those who have not done a summer retreat are not the offspring of the Buddhas and ancestors. They are neither a Buddha nor an ancestor. We now have Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, be they as humble as clay and wood, as precious as silk and gold, as wondrous as the 7 precious jewels. All of them have performed the retreat of sitting in meditation through the 3 months of the summer. This is the ancient custom of abiding within and maintaining the treasures of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. In short, those who reside within the house of the Buddhas and Zen ancestors must, by all means, do the practice of sitting in retreat for the 3 months of summer. No ifs, ands, and buts. You must sit Ango. But if your heart's in the right place, we're not going to kick you out. That's the end of the talk. We got a couple minutes. Any question? Anybody? すなわち、暗号しなければならないんですけれども、心がきれいなら、人生は暗号です。そういう意味です。Any question? Kyonin.
Thank you. Yundo, this question is not for me, but for the people who wonders how to make the family members understand that we are in Ango. Because suddenly we will be bowing at food or sitting more often. And how to help them understand we are in a sacred practice for 3 months.
Well, you know, my belief on that is we live in a secular world. If you're in the office, uh, you don't have to make a big, we live in a world where many people with different religions get together and we put that aside and we go to work and we're together in society, or maybe our relatives don't understand. So I would say if people are saying grace, in the Christian way, well, you join them and say your grace inside. And if people are not saying grace with any particular words, then you say your grace in your heart without necessarily making a big show at the table. You do it in your heart. Take a moment of silence in your heart, and no one will even notice. If you're in the office and it just looks like you're working normally, but in your heart, this is a sacred ritual. That's how you do it. That's my opinion. Anything else? Okay. I'm going to hit the drum in a second. Okay. Yes, yes, go ahead.
So I'm not sure that there's even an answer to this question, but I'm going to go for it anyway. um, for people who have a uh, a career where the workday is filled with, I'm just going to call them thinking jobs. I mean, I know we all have to think in all of our jobs, but if you're in a profession where you have to stay focused, very focused on a intellectual
Yes, yes.
thingy doodle.
Yeah. How do you do this?
How do you do this? Because I understand, like, when I'm doing the dishes, I can wholeheartedly do the dishes. And when I'm mowing the lawn, I can wholeheartedly mow the lawn.
Mm.
But when it comes time to write a
Yeah,
piece of
I
software,
got a thinking job too. I think I understand. Um, all I can say is you have to remember to hear the silence and hear the wordless between the thoughts, and that is the thoughts. Somehow, in doing all that, take a moment to hold in your heart at the same time the wordless and the thoughtless. That thoughtless is not the right term. That is beyond thought. Remember the silence between the words. Yeah, somehow you have to do all that thinking and do not thinking at once, as Dogen said, thinking, not thinking, that is non-thinking. That is our way. It takes practice, sure. But don't remember amidst all that thought and thinking and clutter up there to remember the clear and still and silent. Okay? Something like that. It takes practice. Anything else? Okay. Let's sit Zazen for Daitai Gofu. We're going to sit zazen just for 5 minutes, then walk a little kinhin, and then get back to a longer zazen. Okay? Kyonin, do you want to close the sutra? Do you know how to do that? Please do it.
May the merits of these teachings penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we find every sentient being together may realize the Buddha's way.
Kinhin? We're going to have a short kinhin. Zazen? これから最後の30分の座禅。最後じゃないですけど、最後の長い座禅。30分。
Get hit.
色のタイルの人はね、あれは、東南アジアから来まして、短いの今日ですけど、ほとんどないんですね。儀式アメリカの全世界に人気があって流行ってますけど、言葉ちょっと違うんですけど、大体、いやいや、これしかない。内容を説明します。いろいろな人間、自分を含めて、いいことをお願いします。のりもり、悩みがないこと、みんな安全と静かに感じること。言葉はちょっと違うんですけど、私、僕の人、悩みがない、みんな安全に感じる。みんな心が静か。その後、送り、人が腹が立つ。足で、みんな、心が愛情、ありがたいこと、ありがたい感じ、親しい感じで、心がいっぱい。関係がある。みんな元気。けど、元気がないと、それでも満足。みんな、今、人生の中でも、人生の上で、その後、本当知れない、2回だけやる。罪は一番の人。人生の難しいこと、例えば嫌な人、嫌な人、いいことはこれ、例えば、人生に迷惑かけてる人が、敵、例えば、世界のニュースにテロリストでも、この人、平和を感じる。もし平和、この中に平和があったら、テロリストじゃない。だから、この人の平和を申します。この後、人間とも動物最後はね、今日はこれとこれ、これは今週の私たちいろいろな悪いことをすれば、ごめんなさい。これから懺悔やれない。これは、禅宗仏教、中国でも韓国でも日本でも歌っている、日本の約束。もし、例えば人助かるか、もうちょっと学ぶ。無理だけど、もし無理だったら、もし無理だいや、それで、その間、最後は、We will now recite the meta verses, followed by short zazen. どうでもそう。要するにね、これはね、これは食べる、お坊さんが食べるところだから、テーブルだから、そういうそこに、女性それが、今日ここで、きれいにしない。 I like this bilingual today. Zazenkai. We should maybe have subtitles or something. Okay. Well, we're going to do the metaverses. I think you've all done it before. We wish peace, beginning with ourselves, then those we love, a friend, then a stranger or someone we met briefly, and then even someone who's very difficult in our lives or very difficult in society, even someone like someone who's done some violence. And we wish them peace, and we wish them to be satisfied with the idea that if they know peace and if they were satisfied, they would not be, for example, violent people. So that's why sometimes I have no trouble even wishing someone who's done a criminal act, someone in the news, for example, did violence or did terrible thing to a child even, I wish them peace because obviously in their heart the cause of this is their lack of peace. That's, I think, actually a wise way to go. Wishing your enemies peace. Then they're not your enemies. Anyway, and then all human beings. Okay? Shall we go? May I be free of suffering. May I feel safe and still. May I be free of enmity. May I be loving, grateful, and kind. May I be healthy and at ease in all my ills. May I be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay, next is someone we love or a relative. Sugi wa aisarateru hito toka shinseki. May she be free of suffering. May she feel safe and still. May she be free of enmity. May she be loving, grateful, and kind. May she be healthy and at ease in all her ills. May she be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Of course, it's important to really feel this in your heart, not just say the words. The person I just recited for, by the way, was, I'm not going to say who it was a relative. She's already all these things, but I said it anyway. All right, now we're going to recite for a friend. All right? Tobadachi. May he be free of suffering. May he feel safe and still. May he be free of enmity. May he be loving, grateful, and kind. May he be healthy and at ease in all his ills. May he be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay? Next, a stranger, someone perhaps we barely met. Okay? ほとんど知れない人、一回だけ会った人とか。May he be free of suffering. May he feel safe and still. May he be free of enmity. May he be loving, grateful, and kind. May he be healthy and at ease in all his ills. May he be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay? Next, someone, a difficult person. Sugi wa muzakashi hito. May he be free of suffering. May he feel safe and still. May he be free of enmity. May he be loving, grateful, and kind. May he be healthy and at ease in all his ills. May he be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. Okay, next for all sentient beings everywhere. これからどこでもの人間と動物でも。May we be free of suffering. May we feel safe and still. May we be free of enmity. May we be loving, grateful, and kind. May we be healthy and at ease in all our ills. May we be at peace, embracing all conditions of life. はい。じゃあ、これから、だいたい10分の座禅。あっちに座ったり、ここに座ったり構いません。Okay, we're going to sit one last zazen, but remember, zazen is not a matter of first and last, and it's certainly not a matter of long or short. So 10 minutes of zazen is 10 minutes of zazen. By the way, you may hear my neighbors hammering, hammer, 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 and the entire Japanese Air Force seems to be flying helicopters over our Zazenkai today. And remember, this is all zazen, right? Okay. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear the helicopters out there? I mean the helicopters. You hear the helicopters? Yeah? Okay. All right. We will now recite the verse of atonement and the 4 vows. It's going to take me a second to get up here. My leg has fallen asleep. Okay. There we go. AKG なら手伝い人おりますけど、私一人だから全部しなくちゃならない。あ、大丈夫、大丈夫、大丈夫。その意味で。はい。Okay. Do I stand over here? ここに。G。はい。Okay. Got it?
All harmful words, thoughts, and acts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind. Now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable.
Okay, come on over here. We say hello. Okay, I'm going to let everybody say hello if you would. Come here. Who's out there?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mike.
Hi guys, happy Ango.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Trina. Good. Shinzan.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Very good. And thank you, Mr. K. Come say hi to everybody. Here, wave. Mr. K, gambarimashita ne. Gambarimashita. Well, it's an auspicious beginning to Ango, and let's continue like this for the next 90 days. Okay? All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.